Welcome back to A Peaceful Pursuit. The title of this video is perfectly fitting because I have been editing this video for honestly, well, pretty much since my last upload, which was almost a month ago. That was totally unintentional, but it was just so crazy. We ended up getting sick after Thanksgiving, and then it was pretty much like non-stop from there. We would get better and then something else would happen, and it wasn't always contagious sickness. It was teething and just always something was going on. And then my grandmother ended up passing away as well. So there was just a lot going on in our family, and it required me to take a step back from my more creative pursuits, which is okay. It's still hard for me because I've been in a season of learning how to slow down, but that is the perfect topic for today, and I didn't even necessarily pick that on purpose. I picked it a few weeks ago after like all the sickness and stuff, and then it just became more and more fitting. So I'm excited to chat with you today, and I hope that you are doing well. So in this season of slowing down and accepting where you are at in your homemaking, that is something that I've really been leaning into, and I'm realizing that in wanting to slow down and just live a different life, it seems groundbreaking. It's really not. It seems groundbreaking to me, but I actually have to start living that way and accept where my home is at, where I am at in my homemaking skills, and I just have to be there and let it be what it is and know that I will continue growing. This is, I think, applied to, that type of stuff, like wanting to kind of change your lifestyle, but also just when things, sorry, my baby is playing. When things don't go as planned and life happens, sickness or just, I don't know, outside things where your schedule is messed up a little bit, which I definitely don't advocate for that, like being the norm. Like I think we should be trying to bring order to our homes. It doesn't have to be strict, but just some order and some rhythm, especially for children. That's so good. But things happen, and then of course family stuff like that came up. That was not anybody's plan, and you just have to just be okay with things being that way and doing what you can get done in the current season that you're in, no matter how short or how long. Some seasons are really long, some seasons are short. We are now kind of heading hopefully back into more normal life. We're past all the family stuff. We hopefully are past sickness for a while. It's still winter, so you never know. And yeah, you just never know. But hopefully things are a little more normal. So that was, a relatively short season in the grand scheme of things, but still felt kind of chaotic because it just wasn't normal. So side note, I will tell you a little bit about what I'm doing in this video. It's just not to like avoid all the things that I'm actually doing and only talk about the topic, but I am making a cake here, and this cake is a sourdough cake. It is Farmhouse on Boone recipe, of course, and it became like extremely long fermented because, like I said, we were sick for so long, so I had to keep postponing my son's birthday. And yeah, so I made up the dough, and then it sat in my fridge for a very long time. Like not long enough to make it gross or anything, but it was definitely fermented, so very easy on the gut. And what I ended up doing was I just did it in a 9x13, and then, well, I was going to make it a circle for him, but that wasn't going to work out. So I did it in a 9x13, and then I just cut 2 squares. Like I cut it into fourths and then stacked 2 squares. And then I just made some homemade frosting with Kelowna cream. That's my favorite store-bought brand for dairy. And then I also found some relatively clean like food coloring powder, and I mixed it together to make a green frosting. So then I just frosted that up for him, and I think he really liked it. He mostly ate the frosting, which is pretty typical of kids, but it was really fun to do something homemade, and you know, it ended up being quite the labor of love because it just became very fermented. But that is what I was doing in this video. And also along the notes more of accepting where you're at in homemaking, I have been really learning and trying to learn how to not waste as much. And so in this video I had made a roast with some vegetables. So I had leftover carrots and potatoes, which I tend to like to make in a different dish that I do with ground beef and cheese on top. And so I had a bunch of veggies that we weren't going to eat because I made too many to go with the roast. And so I figured I'd use the veggies and make a different dish, which that was huge for me because that's new. Like, just using my brain in that way to not waste things, but to make a new meal out of it is very new for me and just not something that I'm used to. It didn't taste exactly how that dish would normally taste had I made it like from scratch, because the vegetables cooked in a slow cooker with the roast. So it had a little bit of a different taste, but I was still really excited because I was like, yes, we're starting to really think in this way, and it's becoming a little bit more second nature. Obviously, I'm only telling you about, one time that I've done this, but the more that I'm doing it, it's like amazing how it's becoming pretty second nature. And I know over time it will become even more like that. So it's just accepting that I probably still am going to waste things. I'm not going to do it perfectly. I never will do it perfectly, but just accepting that I'm learning, but also recognizing the progress is really cool because it feels really good to not be wasteful and to be resourceful. So I think that is my overall encouragement to you today, is to, I always come back to this word, but surrender. That is like my biggest word for, I don't pick a word for the year. I don't even think I'm gonna pick it for a short term. It's just my word as of lately, and it's the one word that I keep coming back to because as somebody who's always really liked to be in a lot of control, like to the detriment of myself and my health, surrender is just a really good reminder to just keep me centered and remember that the Lord has me in this season for a purpose, and to lean into Him and into what He's teaching me, and to also put into action the things that I'm learning, because I feel like I will idealize things in my head of like, I want to live slower, I want to waste less, I want to work on this part of my home and make it beautiful, like whatever it is. And I will idealize it in my head almost to the point of then, being disappointed because it's not exactly how I have idealized it, but also in action, like just not even moving the needle, which I have another video about that, like moving the needle in homemaking. Like I will just not do anything sometimes, and I don't think that's good either. So accepting where you're at, but taking small steps forward that move you towards your goals is, I think, really helpful. So I think that is pretty much what has been on my heart for the past month since I last uploaded, and I think that's about it. So if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We would absolutely love to have you join us here, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.